Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Chris Mitchell, Chief Technology Officer here at Inflow Communications. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today. Today we're going to be talking about and doing a live demo of options for integrating your Mitel PBX or ShoreTel PBX with cloud contact centers. We get a lot of questions around customers who want to increase their contact center capabilities with either new, features or maybe integration with social media or SMS and stuff like that. So we have a lot of customers migrating to cloud contact centers, but they're not really ready to replace their on-prem PBX, for their regular users. So we're going to be talking about ways you can integrate that today for your end users. If you haven't had a chance to hit our website, you can see upcoming webinars. They're getting ready to post the September webinars, but we do have two upcoming rapid changes in the contact center landscape, and then using conversation analytics with Mitel. So we have a new integration that allows you to record your calls in your PBX and then actually have those recordings transcribed and provide analytics and stuff on that. So we're going to be talking through with that manufacturer on that webinar. Quick agenda here. I'll do a quick introduction on who is Inflow Communications, and I'll jump in and we'll talk the architecture of the integration between your on-prem Mitel PBX and the cloud, and then I'm going to jump in and do a live demo of one integration, and then I'll save a little bit of time at the end for question and answer. So, all right, well, let's jump right in. So if you're newer to our webinar series, Inflow Communications is a contact center and unified communications company. That's all we do. We don't try to do IT services, sell data centers, anything like that. Solely focused around stuff that integrates with the unified communications of the contact center platforms. We're a ShoreTel Mitel Platinum partner, which is the highest level. RingCentral delivery partner, which means we can, for customers who are interested in migrating to the cloud, we can sell the Mitel cloud, we can sell the RingCentral cloud PBX and install it and support it. Then we're a Genesis Pure Cloud Gold partner. So for another option besides the Mitel platform for contact center, and that's what I'll be showing integration with today. We have offices employees in 10 states, soon to be 11, with over 250,000 endpoints that we support, with 800 customers nationwide with locations all over the world. So we're maniacal about our customer experience. We publish on our website live customer stats, from our sales force, like, what's our response time, what's our customer satisfaction, how long does it take us to answer the phone, all that kind of stuff, live on our website, and even comments, that get posted when cases get closed out and surveys go out. Our customers span every kind of, size and vertical and everything. Like this is just a handful of, of our customers. All right, well, we're going to jump right in. So like I said, we're going to start off with architecture. So we're going to kind of talk through what it looks like to integrate, your Mitel's PBX with a cloud contact center. And then I'll have a second slide that'll show you kind of what it looks like from the cloud contact center side, migrating or integrating over to the Mitel PBX. So we'll kind of talk through the ins and outs of what that integration looks like, what are the requirements and stuff like that, and then we'll jump into a live demo and I'll kind of show you passing calls between the two systems. If you do have questions, feel free to post them in the question section. I'll try to answer them as I'm on each slide or in the demo, and then like I said, I'll save a little bit of time at the end as well. All right, so this is a typical, kind of, I would say, multi-site ShoreTel Mitel system. You'll see a lot of the logos are still the ShoreTel logos because I didn't update this on this particular slide. But so in the top left corner, you have your main, kind of ShoreTel Mitel system, headquarters server. You might have virtualization, you might have some physical switches, some virtual switches, physical phones, soft phones, stuff like that. And then you might have on the right-hand side some remote workers maybe working from home right now. You might have a remote site that has its own dial tone. Those kind of three things is just kind of your typical, Mitel setup. You can have one site, you can have multiple sites. None of that really matters when it comes to integrating with the cloud contact center. But I just wanted to, show customers that you can have any kind of different setups in your Mitel PBX. What it looks like when we want to integrate to, a cloud contact center, and this is a generic cloud contact center slide here. So there's no, this doesn't matter. In most cases, it doesn't matter what contact center you want to hook to. Most of them have very similar, features and functionality for, for this setup. So what we would do on the Mitel side is we would build a SIP trunk group. And that can either be hosted off a physical switch in this diagram or a virtual switch in what we see in more cases. That SIP tie line would have 20, 30, 40, how many ever concurrent call paths we need to be able to support between the PBX and the Cloud Contact Center. And then we do the same thing on the Cloud Contact Center side. We build, a tie line, and each tie line's IP addresses that they route traffic to is going to point to each other. So on the Mitel side, we're going to point to an IP address provided by the Cloud Contact Center. The Cloud Contact Center is going to point to an IP address of the appliance, the Mitel system that's hosting the SIP trunks. That gives us a tie line where we can pass calls back and forth. And then what we do on both sides is in the Mitel side, we set an off-system extension range. Pretty much just tells the system, if I dial extension 1000 to 1099, whatever that range is, those are the extensions that live across on the Cloud Contact Center. And then we do the same thing on the Cloud Contact Center. Extensions 2000 to 8000 are all on the Mitel PBX. So that way if somebody wants to dial an extension on the Cloud Contact Center, it can route across to the Mitel extensions. So really just building a routing table on both sides, and then that allows us to call extension to extension, 4 digits or 5 digits, whatever, how many ever extensions you're running between them. Instead of having to transfer a call to the contact center using a 10-digit phone number, you can transfer via an extension number. And that's really the goal, is ease of use to the end users. That's what we're trying to accomplish when we integrate the two platforms together. It's just make it so your end users think it's one system. The agents, the contact center agents, supervisors know it's 2 systems because they're logged into 2 different systems. But your regular business users, receptionist, to them it looks like one system. It's easy to maintain and easy to manage from their aspect. So call comes in this case, it could come into the Mitel dial tone. Receptionist answers it. Oh, I need to talk to tech support. Great. That's in the Cloud Contact Center. They simply hit transfer. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the extension number is that we routed. And that call would just leave it, go across that tie line, hit the Cloud Contact Center. Cloud Contact Center would receive the call and say, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 is tech support. Now let me find an agent who can take this call. It works exactly the same way as if the Cloud Contact Center takes a call and they say, oh yeah, thank you for calling tech support. This is Chris. How can I help you? Well, I need somebody in sales. Oh, okay, great. Let me, figure out who in sales I want to transfer the call to. I can hit the transfer in the Cloud Contact Center and type in 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Pick an extension and I can transfer the call back across the tie line to a regular user. Just rings a Mitel phone and they're able to answer it. So that's really the goal is the ease of use, is just that 4 or 5-digit extension transfers both ways. And the nice thing about this tie line is if your users at home, these remote workers, in this slide, or the remote site, it works the exact same way. They can receive a call, they can transfer across that tie line. That tie line is accessible to every single user in the Mitel system, regardless of where they're located. So nice, easy functionality there with that simple, one integration. We don't have to do an integration per site. It's just a single integration, and everybody in the whole Mitel system can access that integration between the Cloud Contact Center and the PBX. If I jump over to the next slide now, and I'll kind of show it from the Cloud Contact Center side. So this is if you were using a Genesis Pure Cloud, which is what I'm going to be demoing today. It's one of the products we sell, so I have an easy lab environment to test with. But like I said, this setup is not unique to Genesis Pure Cloud. We've integrated with a lot of different, contact center, Cloud Contact Center platforms. So in this case, what it looks like, from a Genesis Pure Cloud side of things, is they have their architecture. This is the blue circle in the middle. That's everything's hosted in Amazon AWS. So they're hosting in Amazon data centers. And as a call comes in to their platform, his tech support, they say, yeah, I need to talk to Chris Mitchell. Oh, great. He's actually not on the contact center. Let me do a transfer, to his extension, which is 3333. That call then hits the internet, goes across to this Pure Cloud Edge, which can be on-site, it can be in the cloud. There's some flexibility in this. Think of that Pure Cloud Edge as a session border controller. On the last slide, you saw a little add trend session border controller. That's all that really is. It's a session border controller. It just does translation. So as the call wants to leave the Genesis platform, it hits that Pure Cloud Edge, that session border controller, and says, oh, extension, 3333, great. That lives across this SIP tie line on the Mitel, ShoreTel system. Great, let me transfer that call out. And it just does a transfer out. That Mitel switch then receives the call and says, oh, extension 333 is Chris Mitchell. Let me route the call to his phone. So it functions the exact same way. They just have a little bit different way of, of delivering the call. The call comes into that, to their own dial tone, and then it hits the PureCloud Edge when it needs to transfer out. So that PureCloud Edge is really just, like I said, it's a session border controller for receiving and sending calls in and out of the system. This tie line here is showing it one way coming into the short tail, but it'll also allow outbound calls as well, through that SIP tie line. It is a bidirectional SIP tie line. The only thing we have to specify, like I said before, is the number of concurrent calls that we want to support. Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? We need to specify it and make sure we have the right hardware on the Mitel side that can support that. So pretty easy from a design aspect. It's one piece of equipment on the cloud contact center side that can then integrate and talk to the equipment on the Mitel side. In some cases, we have had to put a session border controller on the Mitel side of things to talk to the cloud carriers, because the cloud carrier might not have this edge, SBC you're seeing here. If they don't have one of those devices that is native, that works with their platform, sometimes we have to drop a session border controller in between the two, just so they could do translation, because the Mitel system, it can't talk native SIP to the cloud contact center. We need something in the middle doing translation. In this case, the Edge. In the previous slide, it was a little blue Adtran session border controller, that was in place on the cloud side. So in most cases, we will need some piece of hardware, either physical or virtual, between the two in order to do extension-to-extension dialing, though. Okay, I'm going to stop here to see if I had any questions that came in before I move on to the demo. I do see one question that says, the question was, what licensing and hardware is required for the Mitel system? So that's a great question, because obviously we know if we're doing any kind of trunking, we need some kind of hardware first, is the first most, and then we might need some licensing. So in this case, we're doing SIP trunks. So we either need a physical appliance like you see in this diagram that can terminate SIP trunks and then software SIP licensing, or we need some virtual SIP licensing. So virtual is get rid of the hardware, spin it up in VMware or Hyper-V, and license, license the virtual SIP hardware. So in either case, we need to know that concurrent call count. If it's 20, great. We need to buy 20 either software SIP to run on this physical switch, or we need to buy 20 of the virtual SIP licenses to run inside VMware or Hyper-V. So that's the only thing we need to purchase from Mitel. In most cases, customers are going with the virtual if they have VMware or Hyper-V available. That way we don't have to tie up more additional physical hardware, buy additional hardware. We can go virtual, one less piece of physical equipment that could, could go down or, have to be maintained. So that's the only thing to worry about is number of concurrent SIP licensing that we need to buy from Mitel on that side of things. So good question. All right, I'm going to hop over. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show I have a Mitel system and a Genesis PureCloud system that we've integrated together. So what I'm going to show you is I'll show you directory entries. So on the Mitel side, we can have directory entries for all of the contact center users or queues, typically just queues inside the system, so that I could look in the directory for for a particular queue. And then as I have a call, I'll put an active call onto my Mitel client. And then what I'll do a transfer to the 4-digit extension that lives on Genesis PureCloud. And then what I'll do is when that transfer occurs, I'll show you on the Genesis side that the call coming in. So you can kind of see that once I transferred it, it comes live into PureCloud. I can see the agent, receives the call, answers the call. And then once the agent in PureCloud has the call, I'll show you the ability to transfer the call back to a ShoreTel extension, Mitel extension as well. So I'll kind of show you both sides of things. In both cases, we can do directory entries, so we can have all of the users or the context, the queues built into each platform. So in Genesis, I can put all the users in their extensions, so that I don't need to know everybody's extension. I can just look them up by name. And on the Mitel side, you can put the different queues into the directory as well, so you don't have to know what extension is tech support or customer service. All right. Oh, I want to jump here. Okay, so everybody should probably be familiar with the Mitel Connect client. It's just the upgrade on the communicator. If you haven't done the 14.2 to Connect upgrade, this is what the client changes to. when you upgrade from 14.2 over to Connect. So this is my lab environment here. So like anything else, I want to place a call, I can type in the name or in the directory or something like that. In this case, I know the extension number of my PureCloud queue. So I'm going to type 4444 in here just so you can see. You can see here I have a directory entry for demo PureCloud queue. Obviously, I could put 5, 10, I could put as many of these as I want in here, and I can search by the extension number like I did now, or I can type demo, and then pull up anything that I have in the directory for demo. So you'll notice here it says demo PureCloud queue. The status is unknown because it's not an extension on the Mitel PBX, so it can't tell me the status. Is like, is it out of office? Is it in office? Is it is there anybody waiting in queue? I don't know that information because it's really just an extension that we're going to transfer out to another PBX. So that's the big thing there, is to know is that I can put them in here, but I'm not going to get statuses or anything like that. But I still get extension to extension dialing between the two systems. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to put a call between my two demo phones here. Okay, so I have an active call now. Good. So now that I have an active call, and this could be like I place an outbound call, but I could receive an inbound call the same way. Once a Mitel user is talking on the phone to a customer, then this is where they have the abilities, to do transfers, conferences, that kind of stuff. So the nice thing is, from a functionality standpoint, it's no different than transferring to another user. I can conference in the tech support queue if I need to. I can transfer it, whatever I need to do. I still have all the same abilities that I have with a regular call. So in this case, I'm going to hit the transfer button here. It's going to ask me who I want to transfer to. I can type my name here. I can type demo again, and you can see demo PCQ 4444. If I know an extension, I can do it by extension number as well. Once I select the queue, then it's going to ask me what I want to do with this call. Do I want to just do a blind transfer, a consult transfer? I can't transfer to voicemail. It thinks you can, but it would just transfer as normal because I'm transferring to an extension outside the system. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to open up this other panel here just so you can see this is my PureCloud agent on the right hand side now. So I'm logged into PureCloud, ready to take calls in here. So when I transfer this call, I just wanted to be able to, so you can see, you'll be able to see the call transfer out of my Mitel client and transfer into my PureCloud, just be an extension transfer for a user. So I'll go ahead and hit transfer here, hop over here. Call is gone from my Mitel client now. So now we're waiting to clear through the contact center, any contact center recordings or anything like that. And voila, you see now I have an incoming call. I have the caller ID and everything like that. I can answer, I can decline. If I decline it, it will go to the next agent. I'll go ahead and answer this call here. So now I have a call connected in the contact center. All my reporting in the contact center is now active, so I can run reports, how many calls did this agent take, all that kind of stuff. Once I have the call active in here, you'll notice you can still see my Mitel client on the left-hand side. It's completely empty. It's ready for, for that Mitel user to take any calls and stuff that they need to do in the system. Once I have an active call inside of the PureCloud system, and say, okay, maybe I need to transfer this call to somebody else, inside the system. So from here, I can click the little down arrow and I can say transfer. I can also add a participant, so I can do a conference the same way I could do a Mitel. I can conference in somebody from the Mitel side if I need to, or I can just say, actually, I just need to transfer this back out. So if I'm going to do a transfer, the one thing it's looking at is it's looking at this directory up here. So I'm going to go ahead and look at external contacts here. Make this a little bit bigger. So external contacts here are users that we built in the system that aren't part of the contact center that we might want to transfer calls to. So in this case, my test user is Angus MacGyver. I could have 100 of these if I wanted to, inside the system. When I look at Angus MacGyver, you'll see that the phone number in the system is an extension number, 4 digits. So it's not a 10-digit phone number or anything like that. It's just a 4-digit extension that allows me to transfer calls back to the to the Mitel system in this case. So in this case, I know the extension number, or I can search by name. in here. So I'm going to go back now and select transfer. Now it says here, so now I can type in 1700 if I want to, and it says I found an external contact with that matches that. Boom. Do I want to transfer to that person? Or I can even search by name. So if I know Angus, voila, I have found an external contact. As I minimize this again, it looked to see if I had any contact center users or any queues with that same name as well. It didn't find any, only found me a contact. So if there was multiple phone numbers listed for this user, I would get a work number, a cell number, and it would allow me to transfer to any of those phone numbers. So when we're putting Mitel users into the contact center platform, we have flexibility on what phone numbers we list, for those users. If we want to list cell phone numbers and, extension numbers, we have that ability in here. So in this case, if I want to complete this transfer, I go ahead and select him. I can do a blind or a consult transfer, just like I had the same options on the Mitel side. I'll go ahead and just do a blind transfer. Now the call is gone. My contact center agent is now free to take other calls. You can see my Mitel client. I transferred to a different extension, so it didn't ring back to that same client because I just transferred to a test extension that I have built in the system. But you can see from both platforms, I have the ability to look up and transfer extensions, users, by extension number or by name, inside the system. And there's no limit on the number of users I can put in either system. So, if you had 1,000 users in your Mitel system, I can import 1,000 direct, contacts into this, contact center platform, so that I can then look up and transfer to any of my 1,000 users on the Mitel system. So there's no, it's not like I can only put one extension or, or 10 or anything like that. I can import thousands of users, into both systems, to allow extension directory entries. So questions here. So I got two questions here. The first one the question was, can calls ring all agents at the same time? That's typically just a cloud contact center feature. So it would depend on the cloud contact center that you're running. And the Genesis Peer Cloud, if I'm bringing the call into a queue, it will only ring one agent at a time. If I'm bringing it into a group, like a hunt group, yes, I can ring multiple agents at the same time. That functionality is really dependent on the different cloud contact centers that you're using. In general, I would say true cloud contact centers do not support simultaneous ring. They want it to ring one agent at a time, and they want it to be routed by skill or by longest idle or something like that. And the main reason is when you do simultaneous ring, somebody always assumes, oh, I don't have to answer that. Luis will take that call, or Chris will take that call. I don't have to, I don't have to answer it. So most true contact center platforms don't support simultaneous ring, but there's ways around it. Like I said, we could do groups inside of Peer Cloud, like a hunt group in Mitel, and I can ring multiple phones that way. The other question was, can we also use this setup to integrate with Microsoft Teams? Yes. So, I'm talking from an integration to a contact center, but really we can use this same setup that we're integrating to this cloud contact center to integrate to other PBXs. If you have two PBXs because maybe you did an acquisition, or to integrate with Microsoft Teams, we can use an audio code session border controller to integrate between Teams and Mitel, and allow extension to extension transfers, between Teams and between Mitel, or even provide, if you want to use your Mitel system to provide dial tone for your Teams meetings, you can do it that way, and then put phone numbers from your Mitel and allow them, when they call in, they get transferred over to the, to the Teams conferencing system, where then they put the extension number, the meeting code in to be conferenced into a call. So we can definitely use the same type of integration to, to Teams or to almost any cloud connector. There's only been a few that I've ever been approached with that we couldn't integrate this. Most of the cloud contact centers want to allow you to integrate to your PBX, because a lot of them they're really good at contact center, but they're not very good at the PBX side of things. That's what we found with a lot of the cloud contact centers. So a lot of them have done integrations to to other PBXs, or allow a generic integration like this, so you can bring whatever PBX you want in play. All right, I'm going to hop back here. I don't see any other questions that came in, but just to kind of summarize, we have the ability to do a zip tie line between your Mitel system and almost any cloud contact center, or or other PBX, if we need to integrate like Teams or something like that as well, to allow you to do extension-to-extension transfers between multiple platforms, but then also to do directory entries so that users don't have to know extension numbers. You don't have to maintain lists or something like that. We can import in users with extensions, so I can transfer by name or transfer by extension number. That's usually the biggest key for agents, is they don't want to have to try to remember everybody's extension numbers or something like that. It needs to be ease of use. So if I can transfer by name, that's the preferred option for most agents and supervisors. All right, I don't see any other questions that came in. If you have additional questions, we're always happy to to answer those questions. Hop on a call. If you have a cloud contact center platform you're looking at, we're always happy to to discuss it with you. Like you saw, we're certified in a few of them and everything like that, but we're pretty familiar with most of them out there. Feel free to call your account manager or your sales rep, or reach out to us via email, and I'll hop on a call. One of my other sales engineers will hop on a call and answer questions and walk through what it would look like with the integration from your system to whatever platform you're needing to integrate to. Well, with that, I'd like to thank everybody for joining today, and I look forward to seeing you on another webinar in the future. Have a good rest of your day.